I'm Claire, the Associate Curator at the Allentown Art Museum, and today for Textile Tuesday we're going to talk a little bit about indigo. I wanted to share some textiles from our New American galleries, which just opened about a month ago. We're really excited about this transformation of our permanent collection galleries, and also that we're featuring more works on paper and textiles now. And also we're going to have an indigo-dyeing workshop on Saturday, October 15th from 12:30 to 3:30. So all indigo today. So indigo has been valued around the world and for centuries because of the deep and color-fast blue that you can achieve with it. And cultures worldwide have developed different dyeing traditions. It's been a commodity of global trade and relates to histories around empire and colonization. So a lot of these stories that we're exploring of cultural exchange and the movement of people, goods, and ideas, these are really central in these New American galleries. And so for both the textiles we're going to look at today and the indigo workshop that's coming up, we're focusing on resist dyeing. So a resist is something that you use to manipulate the fabric so that the dye can't reach certain areas and you can create a pattern. So if you've ever tie-dyed something before, that's a form of resist dyeing. The rubber bands that you use and the way that you twist or fold the fabric, that creates a resist where the dye can't penetrate and reach those areas that remain white. So here we have an example of a resist dyed textile from the Yoruba culture, Nigeria. This is an adire, or a woman's wrapper. And this is an example of a paste resist process. So women traditionally used cassava paste to create these types of designs, and they would be painted by hand. And then once the fabric was submerged in the dye, the paste would prevent the dye from reaching the areas that you see that are remaining kind of a light blue color. And then finally the resist would be washed out and you would have this pattern textile. This one dates from about 1950, and it's part of a tradition that Yoruba women developed because they had access to imported machine-made cotton that was much finer than the fabrics that were produced locally. And so they were able to develop this new tradition of doing these much more detailed and intricate patterns with the cassava paste resist based on older traditions of stitching or tying to create a resist. And the patterns on these types of textiles were inspired by textiles that also came from global trade networks. Scholars have noted similarities in textiles from India and Europe and other cultures in West Africa, and also that Yoruba textiles had an influence on textiles from these cultures as well. So there's a two-way exchange happening. I also wanted to show you a second indigo textile on view in our galleries. Right here, this is a bed cover that dates from about 1750, and it was block printed with a resist. So that means that you had a wood block, almost like a rubber stamp, you could think of it, and you would have put the resist on the areas of the fabric that are white. So it's a different approach than you might think. And you can also see there's a two-tone effect in this textile. You have both a light blue and a dark blue. And so that could have been achieved in a couple different ways. One way to do that is to apply a resist and submerge it once in the indigo dye, wash out the resist, reapply the resist in areas that are remaining white, and then dip it again. And so the light blue areas are one dip, the dark blue areas would be two dips in the dye. Or it's possible that artisans would have used a discharge paste, a type of bleach, to lighten the color in areas after dyeing to create that light blue. So these types of floral indigo textiles, large scale, these are found in Connecticut, New Jersey, and the Hudson River Valley. And scholars think that they were most likely printed in India on the order of the British East India Company, specifically for the North American colonial market. So this is a textile that's really traveled a long way to come to our galleries in Allentown today. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about the workshop coming up next weekend. So on Saturday, October 15th, from 12:30 to 3:30, you can join us and become part of this global tradition of indigo. It's a really fun dye to work with. It's really magical to watch as you pull textiles out. It oxidizes and they change from yellow-green to deep blue. So we'll be working with